Yeah, I wouldn't think it would increase the price all that much.
No, why they just couldn't just include that into
Well,
any
because
camera they make.
Starting in the late 90s, they were putting it on almost every camcorder.
All their lower end bunch of their lower end camcorders were all night shot.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And they weren't high end cameras
No.
when they were made. And they have really good optics in them.
They do.
I mean, they're not they're not HD, but they still have nice optics.
Sony's always made cameras with good optics.
They've always used good product. They're a good product. But now, if you want to buy a night vision camera from Sony, you're going to pay big money for it.
Right, and it's just.
And if I'm going to pay $1,100 or $1,200 for something, it's going to be a FLIR.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy a Sony night vision camera.
Handycam
when I can buy a handheld FLIR for. You can buy a low end handheld FLIR for about $1,100, $1,200, $1,400. That's what I'm going to go after for that kind of money. I don't know.
Speaking of thermal imaging, we still need to look into the Seek.
I know. We need to buy one.
Couple $100.
I know. Maybe this spring we'll get one.
Well, and an update on our audio experiment.
We're working on it.
Like, I don't know if we said before, we were talking about subsonic, which I was doing some research today, and subsonic is not correct. Subsonic is slower than sound, which sound is never slower than sound. Sound always goes at the same speed.
Right.
It's just, so it's actually sub-audible is what we're experimenting with.
Right.
We want to experiment around the 1 megahertz to 15, 20 megahertz.
What was the term there? Ultrasound? No, not ultrasound. Ultrasonic? They have a term for anything below human hearing. Subsonic. Maybe it's called subsonic or something like that.
Well, no, I just said subsonic is not correct.
There's another term there, and I can't. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
I can't say it. But
ultra would be above.
It's basically our working
like infrasound.
Infrasound. That's what it is. Infrasound.
Because what we're working on is
the theory.
The theory that EVPs are coming in below human hearing, because to create a sound between 1 and 20 megahertz takes less energy, takes very little energy,
right,
compared to a high pitch. And these would be very like below bass, like very, very low frequency sounds. The high pitched like squeaking sounds, like they are very, very high energy, which would take a lot of energy to create. So
theoretically, it would be easier for these spirits to communicate
or whatever
in an infrasound in that below human hearing
because
area.
They are very low energy waves,
right? And that's what our theory is, that they're not EVPs are not EVPs at all.
They're not electronic voice phenomena.
They are.
We are picking up. These voice recorders are sensitive enough to pick up stuff that we can't hear.
Right. And
but they're still picking up sound waves.
Right.
And so we went online and found some sound generators.
And we've been playing with those.
But what we ran into now is we were just using computer speakers. And computer speakers, even when you get down to 1 and 2 hertz, they make this weird, like, thumping, pounding, weird noise because the speakers just can't handle that low of a frequency.
It's not even the sound that we're hearing. It's basically the
speaker bugging
out, thumping back and forth.
Because it doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, so that didn't work.
Then I did some research, and basically it was saying to accurately recreate these sounds, you need large subwoofers and a large amplifier.
Which, lo and behold, we happen to have.
I was thinking, oh, man, this is going to cost us an arm and a leg. We're going to, Then I'm like, oh, wait a second. I'm a DJ. I have large amplifiers and lots of large speakers.
So we could actually do this.
Yes. We may need to not... The problem we're going to run into we can't use the DJ speakers because without dismantling them.
I got those 2 big speakers that we could dismantle the tweeter and the other one off of.
Or we can go on eBay or somewhere. What we need is I wish I still had like
we need big subwoofers.
Yes, we need big subwoofers, like 15-inch, 18-inch subwoofers, and we can just build a box to put them in. Basically, we need one big speaker, the biggest speaker we can find, We can build a plywood box. I mean, we already have the amplifier and stuff. That's fine. But the problem with the DJ speakers is they have a cone for mids and highs.
Right.
And as soon as you plug into that, you're going to have issues with that. We need just a woofer.
Right.
And but that's something we can start keeping an eye. I mean, getting a used 15 or 18, it doesn't need to be a top of the line $500-$600 speaker. If we can find a used one that just works on eBay for $40-$50, we're in business.
No.
Then get some plywood, build a box for it, cut a hole, mount it in there.
Not to be anything fancy,
No.
just something to mount it.
Yeah.
But that's what we're up against right now. We're trying to recreate these sub sounds.
Right, and to do it, you can't just use computer speakers that have little 1 inch, 1.5 inch tweeters in them. They're just not. I'm looking at the speakers right now, and yeah, they have like about a 1 or 1 inch speaker in there. One
and
or
needless to
1.5
say,
inch.
we are not sponsored by anybody with big deep pockets. So
No,
that's why our theory. I think our theory holds water, but we have to.
well, I have the knowledge and means for the most part to test it. It's just with school and work right now, I'm so swamped.
Right, but we're going to get to it.
Well,
slowly.
Once this semester ends, which is in December,
Yeah, we can.
I'll have an entire month off.
We'll take a couple days and really go after it.
Well, between now and then, we can start keeping an eye out on the internet, looking for a big 15 or 18 inch speaker. Looking for, I'd like to find like an 18 inch, like a really really large woofer.
You think that might work?
Yes, just one of them, and then we'll get some plywood and build a box.
And we're encouraging anybody out there that wants to work on this project too. Please do. Because we're not trying to make money off of this. We're just trying to figure out if EVPs are not EVPs at all, that they're just coming in below human hearing.
And if you can then,
if anybody out there has a means of doing this and researching, let us know. Shoot us an email.
Yeah.
We'll work with you.
Right. And our ideas is because it seems that EVPs come in on certain voice recorders and not on others.
Right.
And not every voice recorder is made equal.
No, they're not creating. Matter of fact, your high-end ones
are going to have more filters.
They're going to filter out all the noises that
above
come in
and below.
Above and below, because that's what they want to do.
Right, like that Tascam is actually made for musicians. It has dual condenser mics.
They don't want those errant noises in there.
It wants to reproduce what you hear.
Right. They don't want to reproduce a sub sound that's coming in off of a computer board or off of a TV set or something off the tubes of an amplifier.
Well, a lot of those would be like above,
but they don't want that recorded into their music. And,
they don't want things above or below.
And sometimes through the magic of digital, this stuff comes into human hearing range.
Right, because what it's doing is it's taking, like, that digital voice recorder is taking actual sound waves and turning it into ones and zeros.
Right.
Which now...
And if that sound wave is in there, it's still going to consider it a sound wave, even though we can't hear it, and it'll convert it to ones and zeros.
And then now it's going to, especially with the one that's made for recording music, it's going to muddy up the music with sounds that you don't normally hear.
Right. So that's where what our theory is. EVPs, these spirits, are actually talking to us. They're trying to communicate with us, but they're doing it in a range that's below our hearing.
And if we can figure this out and figure out the range that they are communicating in, and if we can find voice recorders that work at that range, and maybe if we can get with somebody who can even create equipment that only is picking up that range, that's filtering out everything
if these
outside
things
of that
are intelligent,
range.
and if we could do this and we could reproduce it, and we're saying you could almost sit there and have a conversation with one of these things. Because
if you had a microphone with some kind of box that was filtering out everything else but 5 to 15 megahertz, if that's all, and it could be coming through a speaker in real time, you might be able to hear
exactly what they're saying.
Yeah.
As they're
saying it.
And that's what we're shooting for. I mean, right now, the best anybody can do is they can get a recording of an EVP which says, help me, or get out, or whatever, you know. But what if you could actually hear it with your own ears as it's happening?
Because all we would be doing is we'd be doing the opposite that these companies are doing now. They're putting filters on that filter out the stuff above and below human hearing, where we would be filtering out
everything else,
the human hearing range and above,
right,
and just letting through the
sub sounds,
the sub sounds.
And that's what we're trying to figure out. working on it slowly.
And
like I say, anybody out there that's good with tools and play with this idea.
Yeah. Well, first you need to be actually generating truly sub-audible sounds.
Right.
Which is something that you cannot just do with
now
any kind of speaker that's a tweeter.
And any of our new listeners, anybody listening to our show, the reason why we're doing this, and the idea of this, is because if you go to our website, there's a list of EVPs that we captured on an investigation.
Well, over like 2 or 3 investigations.
Right. And at the time, when we recorded those, we could not hear them.
Right.
But when they were run through Audacity, the sounds came up. Somehow they were converted to digital.
Right. We did not alter the EVPs in any way, shape, or form.
No, they weren't run through any filters or anything. But once they went through and were converted to digital on the computer, suddenly we could hear them.
Right.
And we're wondering, well, why is it? Well, meanwhile, Dan took and ran them through a sonogram file.
Yes.
And our program.
Yes.
And found that they were all below they were all coming through below human hearing.
Yes.
I don't remember whereabouts they were coming through.
Like 8, 10, 12.
Yeah, somewhere between 8 and 12 hertz.
Somewhere down there.
And that's where they were coming through at. Well, that's way below human hearing. You'd have to be a dog to hear that.
Human hearing ranges from 20 to 20,000.
Right, so it was way below. Well below normal human hearing.
20 is if 20 to 20,000 is if you have immaculate hearing. Like I was just messing around today.
Yeah, like me.
Yeah,
I'm half deaf.
I took a hearing test on my phone today, and I have the hearing of a 22 to 24-year-old, and I'm 35, so my hearing's pretty good. I was messing with one of these programs, and I was changing the megahertz at the high end. I could hear a little bit above 17,000.
Yeah, I can only hear up to about, 14?
12?
15, 12?
12.
Or something, yeah. My hearing's horrible.
Yeah.
I have the hearing of over 70 year old.
But, so, I mean, I can hear almost to 18,000 hertz, which is getting up there towards the high end of, being, like, they say that children can hear the highest. When I was a kid, I could hear traffic lights.
Right, yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
You could tell when they're going to change.
Yeah, I could hear the lights. I could hear the electronics and the lights from inside the car.
Yeah, see, I never had hearing like that before.
I was like a bat.
Yeah, I guess so. But that's what we're working on. And like I say, we're not trying to patent this or anything. We're sharing.
Well, because to actually create the device that is going to work,
somebody out there,
we can't do that.
No, we have no means of doing
I have the means to do the experimentation to
see if it holds any water.
See if this holds any water, yeah. But I don't have the means to create a device that will filter out everything but the range I want. I'm not an electronic engineer. I can't.
That's something somebody else has got to do.
Yeah.
But we can at least have the idea.
Yes.
And try and... Okay, we're about out of time here.
We are.
You're listening to Let's Talk Ghosts. You can hear us anytime you want to. Just go to www.letstalkghosts.com. You can find us on Twitter. Just look for Let's Talk Ghosts. You can find us on Facebook. Just search for Let's Talk Ghosts. Now, you can also hear us for the first time every week on Friday night on Diversity Broadcasting Network at 8 o'clock. You can also hear us every Sunday night from 8 till 9 at DTMWickedRadio.com. And if you go to YouTube and search for our YouTube videos, just search for Let's Talk Ghosts, you'll find some of our YouTube videos out there that we did doing some of the shows.
Yep.
If you want to just check us out. And that's about it. Hey, just remember, when you're on an investigation, you are the best piece of equipment out there. Everything else are just things that take batteries. And you can do what?
And we'll see you all on the next...
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Investigation.
You'll see us all on the next investigation. And happy Halloween to everybody out there.